Okay, check this out. Check out the parallels and why I include sexism. So I get all kinds of inspiration, and there's some very interesting things. I think that the model of slavery of my ancestors was modeled on another form of slavery that isn't recognized as slavery now because there's more free will, but in other parts of the world it is slavery, and that is the institution of marriage. So check this out. When you and sometimes when a woman couldn't choose who their partner was and they get married, they leave their tribe and go live with another tribe, which is related to your identity, right? And not only do you leave your other tribe, but now you change your name to be a part of this new tribe that you're identified with, right? You change your last name. Similarly, as a sign of ownership, during the slave trade, you knew who was owned by another person based on their last name. That's one. And the separation from family and tribe is another, right? The other one is not being able to have access to education. And when you leave your tribe and go to another tribe or leave your group, there was an exchange, a financial exchange oftentimes, and the person being exchanged got no financial benefit from that transfer. That happened, you know, in institutions of marriages. That also happened during the slavery, American slavery in this country. So that's another parallel. The other one is like this belief that whoever this person was genetically inferior or not human in some way, shape, or form, right? So women, you know, patriarchy is even older. Patriarchy is, you know, even evidenced in the Bible, which is over 2,000 years ago. Slavery is only 400 plus years away. So this idea of women being inferior because they're women, or those of African descent being inferior because of their skin color, is also very similar, implying that a person biologically is inferior or superior and intelligent or not intelligent based on the color of their skin or based on their urinary tract system being outside of their body or inside of their body. Also, limited access to education is another aspect of parallel between those two. Usually, you know, women, it wasn't encouraged to be educated. In the same way, it was illegal to be able to read if you were enslaved. So all of those different things are parallels, which leads me to believe that the model of the institution of marriage that was used as part of slavery is the same model that they used to enslave my ancestors, which is why sexism, racism, and classism is so important. The other part about it is, you know, in college, I went to a historically Black college, and we explored a lot of these things. And what was very interesting is that even though those enslaved were considered 3/5 of a human being, Black men got to vote before white women. So if they were considered 3/5 of a human being and they still got to vote before white women, on some level, their gender trumped the color of their skin. And before, you know, while we were pontificating about this and wondering like, well, who would be president first? Would it be a white woman or would it be a Black man? And we saw history repeating itself where Obama was elected president before Hillary Rodham Clinton. And so I say all that to say is that it's a very dynamic, very complex system, very integrated, and to unearth it and to dismantle it, we have to look at a bigger picture of how insidious it is. I just want to mention one other thing, and it's so subtle and nuanced, and I had to check and look at myself honestly first, because we can be biased against what we are. There are some women who don't like women. There are some Asian people that may not have Asian or like Asian people. Like we have sometimes these biases, even when we are that group that we have biases against. And so I had to check myself and look at, you know, why didn't I have Breonna Taylor's own post separate from, because I posted her post with Ahmaud Arbery, and I was like, I really don't want my page to turn into like this whole in memoriam, you know, because there's been so much death. But it was just like, why didn't she have her own post. You know what I mean? And it's like, look at that subtle way. And why couldn't I remember her last name? It kept eluding me. And it was like, look at those subtle ways where we value or acknowledge one thing, the Black man, over the value in the life of the Black woman. And it's getting better. Like, shout out to how the movement's evolved and embracing all life, all Black lives matter, not just male, not just female, not just those that have been killed by police. Although George Zimmerman wasn't. I hate when people like group him into that, because who is he? But anyway, so I hope that may answer some questions or some things that you may be wondering about with those 3 areas that we're focusing on.